Bob Mueller's hack team of corrupt prosecutors charged Mike Flynn with lying to the FBI about a conversation he had about sanctions, but they never asked him about sanctions. Getting back to the Flynn case, I don't want to let the other news get away from us. You know, Spygate and the targeting of Mike Flynn are only the biggest political scandals in the history of the United States. You know, Joe? I mean, I don't want to just sideline that.
Yeah.
No. There's a lot of things going on, and we're going to have to juggle chainsaws over the next couple of days. So, as you know, Mike Flynn was framed, wrongly prosecuted. The government, the Department of Justice, is now trying to throw out the case, but a judge who's not even acting like a judge anymore in the Flynn case is getting in their way. So the Judge Sullivan saying, well, you're not going to throw out the case until I say so, which is the most bizarre, ridiculous, outrageous decision I've ever heard from a judge who's forfeited the robe in this case. Forfeited the black robe. I don't know what, he's not judging anything at this point. Now he's umpiring and playing in the game. The government, the U.S. government, has now issued another brief on the case. So just to be clear, U.S. government, we're going to drop the case against Flynn. This is a really bad case. The judge, you're not dropping a case till I say so. No authority to do that whatsoever, by the way. The government now issued another brief, and it's devastating. And just so you understand who's signing this brief, this is coming straight from the top right now. One of the lead lawyers for the government, the Solicitor General. Look at the cover of this brief. Noel J. Francisco. This is issued in the Flynn case by the Solicitor General of the United States. They're not messing around, ladies and gentlemen. And this brief the government issued on the Flynn case is devastating. I want to hat tip Technofog, by the way, again on Twitter, another great account, and Undercover Huber, two great Twitter accounts. You really should follow. They're terrific. I want to hat tip them for a lot of this. This takeaway from the brief is devastating. I'll put this up in a second, but I want you to keep clear. This case is very simple. The air quotes case against Mike Flynn. It was no case. He was framed, just to be crystal clear. He was framed for allegedly lying to the FBI during a January 2017 interview about a conversation he had with the Russians. Forgive me, I know a lot of you know the backstory and heard it a million times, but that's it. He talked to the FBI. They asked him about a conversation he had with the Russian ambassador as the incoming national security advisor. The FBI alleged in that conversation Flynn had that sanctions were discussed, the Obama-era sanctions on the Russians, and that Flynn lied about discussing them. Everybody crystal clear?
Mm-hmm.
So if Flynn was charged with lying about the sanctions discussion he allegedly had, wouldn't the FBI have to have asked him about sanctions for him to lie about it? Hey, Mike, General, did you discuss sanctions? No, I didn't. Yes, he did. He lied. I've been warning you about this for weeks. Well, we're proven right again, of course. Again, hat tip also Stephen McIntyre, who's been on this climate audit on Twitter, another great account. Let's go to the brief where they kind of hint and poke and prod that something may be going on here, ladies and gentlemen, something very serious. This is the government's brief back to the court, back to the judge saying, there's no case here for lying. They write that he was asked if he recalled the conversation with Kislyak in which he encouraged Kislyak, the Russian ambassador, quote, not to escalate the situation in response to sanctions. The petitioner, talking about Flynn, responded, not really, I don't remember. It wasn't don't do anything. Pay attention here. According to the FBI 302, the agents asked Flynn whether he recalled the conversation in which Kislyak stated that Russia had taken the incoming administration's position into account when responding to the sanctions. Flynn stated he did not recall such a conversation. The agent's handwritten notes do not reflect the question being asked or petitioner's response. To infinity and beyond. So, just to be clear here, Bob Mueller's hack team of corrupt prosecutors charged Mike Flynn with lying to the FBI about a conversation he had about sanctions, but they never asked him about sanctions, and the agent's handwritten notes and Flynn's words show there was no conversation about sanctions. How can you lie about sanctions you were never asked about? I've only been asking this question now for a couple of weeks. Now, let me be clear, all sarcasm and, joking around aside, it's not a clown show here. This is, I use humor to diffuse sometimes really unbelievable situations. And my own rage, to be candid, which at times is peaked out of control lately. To the media people who are listening and watching my show, and the leftists too who watch my show, hoping for one slip up so you can do whatever you can to boycott and try to ruin our entire show. I know what you do. Do you really believe the Solicitor General of the United States, Noel Francisco, is signing a brief that's false? Joe, follow me here, and I want to be sure the media gets this and act as an independent arbiter here so you pick up what I'm putting down. Do you actually believe the Solicitor General of the United States, along with the upper echelon of the legal profession of the United States government, is writing a brief in this case that there is no evidence that this question of sanctions was even asked, that Flynn allegedly lied about, and that the FBI notes and Flynn's word on it seem to defend Flynn's story that he was never asked about sanctions? Do you really think they're doing that and putting it in a brief and signing it with all their names on it because it's false?
No.
So I'm asking both Joe as an independent arbiter and ombudsman and the media folks listening, how much longer are you going to keep this charade going? That Mike Flynn had it coming and he deserved this and Spygate's a hoax and collusion was real. How long are you going to keep this charade going before you finally realize and come in front of the American people with a mea culpa like I did in this show today and say, I was wrong?
You just heard The Dan Bongino Show. You can also get Dan's podcasts on iTunes or SoundCloud and follow Dan on Twitter 24/7 @DBongino.